Welcome to a presentation of Vehco's system for fleet management. We will in this presentation show you some of the key functionality and we hope you find it interesting. Very well. Our system is used by the drivers in the vehicles as well as in the office, typically by the transport management team, the HR team for the salary calculations, and also by the financial departments. Let's start by taking a look how the system is used in the office. In the map application, you get a full control of all your vehicles and other assets that you have in your fleet. You can see them in real time and also through a tracking feature where they have been, what stops they have done, etc. In the current selection on the right hand, you can for one vehicle at each time see who is driving it. You can get some tracking information. You can see there's a short link to see the emissions and also the status of the driving resting times. It's also possible to see if there are any messages to this driver or vehicle, and also the different kind of activities that have been registered for this vehicle or driver. In the geofence functionality, it's possible to create an area, either like a circle or a rectangle, and then you can set alarms and produce reports when vehicles are entering or leaving this area. Through the driving resting times overview, you can see the current activity for each driver. You can see how the daily driving is and the different shifts, and also see the past driving this week to get a full control of what assignments and orders you can push out to each driver. And it's also possible to go in more into detail to see what events and times have been registered from the tachograph for each driver. And then it's also possible in web office to get an overview of the different missions that are executed by the drivers. You can see the status, what's actually happening out there, how far they've come, and if you have been loading, etc. And in the message service, it's possible to send out message to the driver or to several drivers or vehicles, and also get responses. And one key feature is to actually predefine answers, so the driver will not need to fill in text him or herself. It can just through entering a yes or no button. In the Echo Driving dashboard, it is possible to see how well the drivers are driving, and we have taken the 6 different driving parameters and put them into an index, so we can easily see the trend of all the drivers in one index. It's also possible to analyze the different goals for each driving parameter and to see how many of your drivers are actually reaching your goals. Based on this information, it's possible to rank the drivers to see who has the best results and who has the highest improvement potential. And then of course we can go into each and every driver to see their driving behavior and the driving parameters to help them improve. The system is also able to generate different kind of reports. For one example is the fuel consumption report, where we can see the total driving volume, the idling volume, and the PTO volume. In the timeline, it's possible to have a detailed overview or detailed view of each event that is registered by the TACO. And we've also been able to merge this information with the different activities that have been registered through the activity module. So in this case, it's easy to follow up the full working day of your driver and make good analysis of improvement potential. In the time totals, it's possible to see the driver times and compare with if you have contracts that have been entered in the system. And you can get an overview of your day or your week or a month. So this information will be good help because it all comes from the TACO, what has been registered there. And this information can also be generated in reports that can be sent either to an Excel export or directly to HR and salary systems to be based for your salary payments. The system is also able to download tacho files remotely from both the driver card and your tachograph. And we have also connected it to a service so you can generate reports to see how well the download has been working, and also you can generate driver letters that can be sent to drivers who need to act in one way or another if their downloads are not performing as they should. The system is also generating different kind of start and stop reports. One example is the kilometer production report, where you get a detailed view of all your vehicles, where they have been stopped and stopped for more than 3 minutes, and you get the addresses and all the information you need. It's also possible to generate violation reports for driving resting time to identify the different violations that have been performed by drivers and also their descriptions. Many customers are also requiring different kind of emission reports to follow up on the environmental impact from the vehicles, and this can also be generated by the system. When a system for fleet management is implemented in a company, it's common that the drivers start talking about it and comparing their results. And of course, it's important to follow up the results continuously and make it possible for the drivers to have a fair competition. One way to keep good control of your fleet's condition is to use the checklist for vehicle maintenance that is filled out by the drivers continuously when they are starting to use the vehicles every day. And this information is then forwarded in a report to the workshop manager, who can easily follow the vehicles to see if there are anything that needs to be repaired or fixed. Depending on your needs, you can use Vehco system in several different ways. You can install a vehicle computer that will gather information from the CAN bus and the tachograph and send this information to web office for further analysis and reporting for the office team. You can also let your drivers use a smartphone, a tablet or a fixed screen to get the information that is required and needed for order management, messaging and other types of such services. And you can also connect the vehicle computer with a smartphone or tablet in the cabin to also let your driver get the information from the tachograph and from the vehicle. So it's a very flexible system setup that you can grow into and scale in the way you want. You can either let your drivers bring their own devices, such as smartphones or tablets, or you can use hardware provided by Vehco in the cabin. If the system is connected to the tachograph, the driver will be logged in automatically when the driver card is entered in the tachograph. Before leaving, it's smart to do a check of the vehicle with the checklist module to make sure that all key components of the truck are working as they should, or to report faults that can be taken care of by the service department at the next possible stop. In the activity module, the driver can register non-driving activities that could be very useful to share with the office team and also with the customers in order to identify waiting times, number of pallets, loading, unloading, fueling, etc. When there's a new mission that is arriving, there is an alert coming up on the screen where the driver can either read later or go directly to missions module. In the missions module, the driver can get information about the mission when it comes to the stops and different tasks that should be carried out at each stop. When a mission is validated and approved, the driver will report the status throughout the mission that can be also viewed in the office, in the web office application. Start in the mission is normal also to have an address for the destination, and if navigation is installed, the driver can get help to find the best way through a navigation program. During the driving, the driver can switch to the driving resting time to see when the next break should happen, and also to get an overview of the rest periods during the day and during the previous weeks, and also to understand the shift times. And through the driving resting times feature, there will also be warnings when when the driver is coming close to violations. In the eco driving feature, it's possible to get a coach through the system for helping the driver to drive as economically friendly as possible. It's also possible to get the aggregated values for each driving moment. In the messaging functionality, the driver can get messages that are sent from the office or from other drivers. And it's also possible to get pre-defined answers that the driver can reply to, so he or she does not need to stop and write texts. After unloading and delivery, it's possible to produce a proof of delivery through a signature on the screen. The system can also generate emission reports that many customers expect for the environmental reporting. These were some of the key features in the Vehco system for fleet management. Thank you so much for listening, and please contact any Vehco representative for more detailed presentation.